I say this all the time, and it sounds kind of quirky, but I wish I would have kept journals, like written everything down over the stories and the experiences, and everything's up here. Some's on paper, but I just think that over 30 years, and at the Pacers, we were playoffs 9 out of 10 years, NBA Finals once, and playing Kobe and Shaq in LA, and just the experience of various road trips over the years, and corporate partner trips, and was able to visit every NFL venue over the years. And so you kind of have your favorite parts about certain buildings, and other, you can't afford every best practice when you build a building because you run out of money. And so it's not like, it's like building a house. You can't opt in on every upgrade and option. But no, I would say it maybe as surprising as that sounds, is just wish I would have documented things more so over time. For those getting into the business, just maybe that's a little tip. I've never been a journaler or diary guy, but just kind of keep things a little bit more organized, so you could reflect back on paper versus just kind of in your head as far as from the memories.
I spent every summer productively. I interned with the Rays, Turner Sports, and ESPN. A lot of people were having fun or just taking a break. I never did that. So when it came time to apply for jobs, I had real world experience on my resume. I would also say cast your net wide in the beginning. You can be pickier as time goes along, but just apply for as many things as possible so that you have as many choices as possible. And then once you have more experience, you could add on to it. As I said, I think everyone wants to be the second person to hire you. So in the beginning, you just can't be as picky until you have someone else sort of legitimizes you. And I think we live in a very quick hitting generation. We want the instant gratification. We're that way on social media. And I would just, if I could give myself one piece of advice going back, there's no such thing as cutting corners. That will get you in trouble, that will damage your reputation, that will hurt you in the long run. And in terms of being able to garner opportunities, do everything the right way. Do not skip steps.
Advice to creatives and filmmakers, students, like anyone who's thinking about just a career in any field, but especially being an entrepreneur or creating something for yourself. I would say just start doing it in any phase that you're in. Get used to talking with people who you don't know and trying to make connections online, because that's where we're at right now. That's the climate. Look on LinkedIn, reach out to them. Like, Sammy, you reached out to me and it was awesome. Like, I love that. And I think that anyone who's wanting to get into a field where you really need other people in order to make something. You need collaboration. You also need people to take time to tell their stories, if that is like what you want to work on. And I think that being able to just not be scared about rejection or what you're working on, just remember again, like, it's all, time is just, it varies, it's always moving. And if you're, just because you had a no today doesn't mean you won't have a yes next year. And I think that as cliche as it can sound sometimes, but just bet on yourself, because that's the best thing you could possibly do.
Something that I've sort of described and defined as my 5 keys to success in the sports industry, but I think it applies across the board. And so the 5 keys that I identified that were influential in my career, some of the things we've talked about today, number 1 and number 2 are closely related. Arrive early and stay late. Just show up. Just be present. And just doing that in life, in your job, in your internships, will help you go far. Number 3, always exceed expectations. You have an opportunity to do the bare minimum or go beyond. And anytime you choose to go beyond, you're going to make a strong impression. Number 4, pay excruciating attention to detail. And attention to detail, one of the things, whenever I introduce students on field trips or in practicums to professionals in the field, and and get those professionals to talk about what they're looking for in candidates. Attention to detail is always among the top 3 qualities that employers are looking for. And that goes for sports, but it goes for all other professions as well. And number 5, always be positive.
So what I tell everyone that's your age that's in college, including my daughter, who right now is a senior, who's about to enter the working world, man, if you love something, especially if you want to get into sports media, don't be afraid to show your passion. Don't be afraid to like do whatever it takes to get that gig, to get in the door. And passion is everything. Like when I sit there and I'm about to hire somebody, you know, if they walk in the room and I'll say, hey, so what do you like about the NHL? Oh, I like it. I like hockey. I watch hockey. Oh, really? What do you like about hockey? Oh, it's a really good game. It's very exciting. And then the next person walks in the room and they'll say, this is my dream. I would want to work for the NHL. I wanted to work for the NHL since I was 5 years. I love hockey. I've gone to, who am I hiring? Come on, who am I hiring? And I don't care whether their grades were, you know, season D, like that says this person's going to want to be here. This person's going to want to learn. This person's going to get up every morning and run to work. That to me is the difference for somebody graduating, getting a job and not getting a job. And so my advice is when you walk in that room and you have that one opportunity to talk to somebody, man, show them how much you want it, you know, show them how much this would mean to you. And then once you're in, you're in. You know, that's going to be up to you, to anybody in your audience to prove that you could do the job. But it's really hard to get the first job. It's not simple. And one of the pieces of advice I tell everybody is, you know, passion with a capital P, and you'll be okay.
Just some advice would just be to make the most connections you can. You never know who you're going to meet. And you never know who's going to come back to you in life. So, you know, like I said earlier, I made a lot of great friends, made a lot of good relationships with coaches, you know, former coaches, you know, that are all around the country now. So just take advantage of every opportunity that you get, you know, whether it be, you know, going to that networking night. You know, they had networking nights for us to do. And I was like, man, I do not want to go to this. It's just like, it's just an extra thing on my plate. I want to go home. I want to sleep, or I want to go eat dinner somewhere. But looking back on it, you know, it's probably one of the best things that I could have done because I've met a bunch of great people. Yeah, I mean, that's really the thing, is just take advantage of the opportunities that you have, because you never know what's going to come up in the future.
Be good to everyone you come across, because you never know the type of person. You never know who you're running to. You never know who you meet. You never know who you come across. You know, have good character, great have integrity about everything you do. You know, don't be that college athlete that's, you know, walking around campus being the biggest jerk. Don't be that person. That's probably the one thing that I'm happy about in my time at Iowa, because I felt like I was just open. You know, you come across a lot of people and they probably want to get your attention or say this and say that, but you know, being standoffish and stuff like that, it didn't sit well with me. You know, I was very open with everybody, and hey man, what's up? You want a drink? Or, you know, you going here, you going there. Oh, you know, you send me a message. Hey, your girlfriend want a ticket for Valentine's Day to the game? Sure, I got some extra ones here. Take it. It's no problem. And you know, what's funny is that those same people that I did that for, not thinking about anything, not wanting anything, those same people I'm still cool with and still have a relationship to this day. Moving 10 years, you know, 10 years removed, even more down the line, I still have a relationship with. And, you know, these guys are helping me, you know, kind of navigate, you know, on my next step in life. Now, just imagine if I could have been the person that was disrespectful to them or been this type of person to them. they look at me and be like, he's a terrible guy. So just maintain, your character, integrity, and, a certain way about yourself, even though, I feel like things may not be happening fast for you or right away for you. People are always thinking of you and keeping you in mind always. So, just be a stand-up dude. That's one thing I can say, future Hawkeyes.
The first thing I would do, I would recommend an internship. I think that's the first thing. I think it's important to network. I think it's important to meet people. I think it's important to cold call. I think it's a little more challenging now because we're basically like still in this pandemic phase, and you're not out and about meeting people. But I think it's important to do all those things. Don't be afraid to send somebody a direct message like you sent to me, and I'll respond. And that's a big reason why I do that. That's why, there's not many people leave their direct messages open. Like, my wife thinks I'm crazy, but I'm like, well, no, because 90% of the people are asking CBA questions, or they want to do radio and stuff like that. It's important to network and just talk to people. And when you have that opportunity, as I said when we started, and it's not something that you desire, but it is an opportunity of working in sports, that you go out and do that.
Speaking for me personally, the most important thing in my development professionally has been just an unquenchable curiosity. How do I find, so if I see a colleague that sends a really good note, I don't know how to find it, I always follow up and ask them how, because there is nothing that I don't care to know how to do. I want to know how to do and find everything, even though my job as a producer now is produce just as much as it is to research. But having that, having a constant desire for knowledge is a really important thing. It's really easy to settle, but I have so far to go. If I'm still doing this in 10 years, I can have a much better conversation with you than I just had. And it would probably be much more impressive because of all the knowledge that I've built up. You got to start somewhere. And I think having that sort of natural curiosity for me has been super important. It's always vital that I know how to find whatever it is that I, on any given subject, want to as best I possibly can. And I'll go to whatever means necessary it is to find it. And it's also super important to be able to go on a sort of a dig or a search on your own, knowing that the end result might not be good. So for example, I noticed on Monday when I woke up that the Chiefs had the top two receivers in the league, Hill and Kelsey. And I thought to myself, it can't be that common that a certain team had both top receivers in the NFL, right? So 40 minutes later, I found the answer, and it wasn't that satisfactory, but it's worth it. It's always worth it. So spend the time and be as naturally curious as you possibly can be.